Share our love. Share our love with the world. Share our love. Share our love with the world. Share our love. Share our love with the world. Our soul awakens in the light, and our spirit rejoices in the heavens. Our soul awakens in the light, and our spirit rejoices in the heavens. Share our love. Share our love with the world. Share our love. Share our love with the world. We're going to ask the men to sing this. Share our love. Share our love with the world. Share our love. Share our love with the world. The women sing this part with Lynn.
Soul awakens in the light, and our spirit rejoices in the heavens. Our soul awakens in the light, and our spirit rejoices in the heavens.
Women, keep that going, and men, we'll do our part.
Our soul awakens
Share
in
our
the
love.
light, and our spirit rejoices in the heavens.
Share
Our
our love.
soul awakens in
Share
the
our
light, and our
with
spirit rejoices in the
world.
heavens.
Share our love. Share our love with the world. Share our love. Share our love with the world. With the world.
Thank you. Welcome to Practicing the Presence. My name is Reverend Lori McMacken. This evening we have Jim and Lynn Chow. They have been leading devotional singing for 25 years. Actually, Jim was here at Seaside in the grassroots days. And they are also leaders of the Dances of Universal Peace. So if you love to dance, please join us on February 13th, where they will be leading the dances. So we come together on the Wednesday evening to lift you up, to tap into the field of infinite possibilities and to tap into the field of infinite potentialities and to recognize the presence of God as your life. This evening, our lighting is a little crazy because some of the lights are broken, so we will probably have mainly full lights on or full lights off. This is a candle lighting service, so I'm going to ask you to come forward and light your candle. And when you light your candle this evening, I will be talking about the divine map of transformation. So think of something in your life that you would like to transform. All right? So I'm going to invite you to come forward now and to light your candle as we practice the presence together.
This circle of love, in this circle of peace, in this circle of love, in this circle of peace, in this circle of love, in this circle of peace, in this circle.
Time in our service where we practice the presence together and we go within. This evening we have a little bit of a different meditation. We're going to have a short 1-minute meditation and Jim is going to play the piano for us. And then I have a guest speaker that I want you to hear. I went to the Parliament of World Religions and I brought someone very powerful back with me and I want you to see this guest speaker. So I invite you to close your eyes and go within. And to breathe into your heart space. And breathe through the pathway into your heart and think of something or someone that you have so much love and so much gratitude for. Just living here in Carlsbad gives me so much love and gratitude, living in this peaceful area. And just keep that feeling of love and gratitude in your heart and allow this feeling to emanate throughout your whole body as we practice the silence together for 1 minute.
glad to welcome her. Join me in welcoming this wonderful woman.
Thank you. What an extraordinary opportunity to have a world parliament of religions, to have people representing religions from all over the world throughout our great tapestry of history here in order to not only support each other, but to support the common mission, that common mission being to live the lives that we are all called to, at the core of the universality of the themes that we all share. But I think also we have the opportunity, being here together, to do the work of religion within ourselves. And one of the great religious principles is to purify your own heart and atone for your own mistakes. So as lovely as it is that at this year's Parliament of World Religions, women's voices are given the power and the privilege that we have at this great gathering, as women, let us just point out, not with anger or with rancor, that the history of religion has not been so good to women. And to be honest, in many of the great institutionalized religions that are represented even here at this Parliament, they're not doing so good even today. So let's take a moment to atone in our hearts to be honest and be real. Because religion, when it refuses to be honest and refuses to be real, allows itself merely to be co-opted by the very forces we are here to protect human beings from. And that is why many of the female voices rising today in religious fervor, forming a new vortex of priestesshood, are finding ourselves at sometimes working within religious institutions, at other times not welcomed in our true femaleness and practicing our priestesshood elsewhere. Every woman here who is a healer is a priestess. Every woman here who is a teacher or an educator is a priestess. Every woman here who feels in her heart that she was sent by divine mission, the same small voice for God that not only leads the great religious figures to perform their divine mission, but which Mahatma Gandhi said was the leader of the Indian independence movement. No matter whether it's political or religious or educational or business or science or politics, whatever, we are here, and this is the true religious calling, to answer to that small, still voice within and lay it down wherever we are. And so the last thing that would serve a world parliament of religions, and the last thing that would serve the women of the world, is for any of us to be too self-congratulatory at this time. Every woman needs to understand that living a meaningful life is not a popularity contest. Every religion, every religious leader, every woman needs to understand if what you're saying is always getting applause, you're probably not yet doing the right stuff. Because if we are to truly stand for the reclamation of the heart of humanity, we must remember that we live today on a planet that is not organized according to principles that reclaim the heart of humanity. World civilization today is predicated on principles that break the heart of humanity. World civilization today is predicated on principles that foster separation and not unity, that foster greed over humanitarianism, and that foster devolution and destruction and decay of the earth and the living things upon it more than the rebirth of the possibilities divinely inspired in all of us, by which we might become a human race at peace with each other, with our God, and with our planet. So when we talk about nonviolent resistance, don't just concentrate on the nonviolent part, also concentrate on the resistance parts. Let us remember the women on the planet today who are raped, who are tortured, whose children are killed, whose husbands are killed, whose brothers are killed, who they themselves are killed, and sometimes, yes, in the name of religion. Let us not forget that. And let us not forget that to speak in real solidarity with such women, I ask myself, for instance, as an American woman, what if every American woman had laid down on the highways across America and said, no, you will not invade Iraq. No, you will not do that to the women of Iraq. No, you will not do that to their children. No, you will not bomb their homes. I also know that to have called for that at the time would have gotten no real reaction. But we, you, I, this is our job. Let us create our societies in whatever area we are. If you're an educator, if you're a healer, if you're a religious leader, if you're whatever you do, let us prepare the ground, fertilize the soil, prepare the listening, so that as women do find their voices and men find their voices, we must remember that passionate, free-thinking women have never been deeply appreciated by the great religions of the world, because passionate, free-thinking women raise passionate, free-thinking children, and passionate, free-thinking children grow up to be passionate, free-thinking adults, and passionate, free-thinking adults are very difficult to manipulate and almost impossible to control. Let us remember whether it is within religious institution or any other, when a woman truly speaks from the depth of her heart, she might not be deeply appreciated by the men in the room. She might not be deeply appreciated by other women in the room. But if even one man says, I support her and I stand for her, and if even one woman says, I support her and I stand with her, what that's called is a miracle. What that's called is a revolution. What that is called is a true divine goddess, because the divine goddess is not just beautiful, she's fierce. And when you mess with her babies, and you mess with her earth, she's had enough of that. And we're here on her behalf. That stuff, you know what to do. Go do it. Thank you very, very much.
Follow that up.
I said to Reverend Laurie, you want me to get up after that fierce woman? Wow. Good evening, everyone. My name is Robin Holt. I am a practitioner and ministerial student here at Seaside. Oh, wow. So tonight, Reverend Laurie is going to be talking about transformation. So it's very appropriate that we were listening to Marianne Williamson. And she's going to base her talk on a book called The Way of Transformation. And this is a quote from that book. The book is written by Pia Coombs Ramirez. Or Gaia? Is it? Anyway. So here is the reading. The one certainty in life is that transformation is going to happen. It can be beautiful or it can be ugly. We talk of beautiful transformation in terms of inspiration, good luck, synchronicities, magic, and miracles. Ugly transformation is called a midlife crisis, tragedy, bad luck, or misfortune. The only difference between the beautiful versus the ugly form of transformation is whether a person is embracing or resisting it. By embracing transformation, you synchronize and align as you grow and develop to the power of the universe. This is the key to unlocking your greatest gifts and potential. And so today, while I was noodling on my computer, I also found a quote I wanted to share with you from Steve Jobs, who's one of my heroes. He said, "For the past 33 years, I've looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something." Okay, so let's just take those words into prayer. And let those words resonate in that inner place, in the stillness, where we know, each and every one of us, that there is one power and one presence. And that it is the life that I live, it is the life of every person on this planet. And as we are here in this sanctuary right here, right now, I know that I am transforming and changing each and every day. For there is only one movement in life, and it is forward. We can never go back. And so I know for myself that I am expanding into the work that needs to be done on this planet for Mother Earth, for all the women and children, and all people who are experiencing immense difficulties. Our work is here, right here and right now. And so I know that as I choose my gifts and abilities to share with the world, I know that every person here present has gifts and abilities and attributes for them to share with each other, with their communities, with Seaside, with everyone, in order to bring about a world that works for everyone. And so I'm grateful on this particular night, grateful for the teaching of Ernest Holmes, who understood that all the great religions of the world were saying the same thing. It's about oneness, it's about love, and it's about caring and doing what each of us is able to do to bring about peace and harmony on this planet. And so I release these words into the law, knowing that they are heard, understood, and actioned as they are said. For transformation is already happening in each and every moment for everyone around the world. And so I simply let go and let God, and together we say, and so it is.
So it is. Beautiful, thank you. My heart is so full right now of love, and it is pouring with compassion. I came home from the Parliament of World Religions 10 days ago, I believe it was, and you have seen part of the experience that I experienced with Marianne Williamson. And the one thing that I have to say about Marianne Williamson is Marianne Williamson for president. Yes! She kicked. She was amazing. But not only was she amazing, there were so many other people from all over the world that stood up and spoke. They talked about the earth and how we need to mother our earth and take care of her, because if we don't take care of her, she will take care of herself and she will destroy her. She will destroy humans. We talked about people who don't have clean water or running water. We talked about children who need to be fed and hundreds of people that die daily because there is no food on their table. Things that I could never, ever, ever fathom. And so when I left there, I left with a very open heart, and there was compassion pouring out of my soul. And I'm just so grateful to live here in the land of milk and honey, and to be healthy, and to be here in Encinitas, California with you. And I'm grateful to be an American. And during this time, I left, and I had a new question that I'm asking myself. And that question is, how can I be of service in a greater way? How can I be of service to the world in a greater way? And I don't have that answer yet, but I know as I move through my life and I transform and I spiral into this golden spiral, that I will have that answer, and I will do my part in the world. I was getting my nails done today, and with my friend who is from Vietnam, and we were talking small talk, and we were talking about the holidays coming up, and he said, "Where do your mom and dad live?" And I said, "Well, my mom's in Phoenix, my dad's in Michigan." And I said, "Well, you're from Vietnam, right?" And he looked at me like, "Oh yeah, you know?" I go, "Yeah, you're from Vietnam." He goes, "Yes, I am." And I go, "How about your mom and dad? Are they around?" And he just kind of didn't say anything. And I thought, oh. And then I said, "Well, are they still alive?" And he's like, no, they're not alive. And then he said, "My mother died when I was 2 years old." And I said, "Really? How did she die?" "Well, she was cooking in the kitchen, and she had to go to the store to get something. And then a bomb dropped on her." I was like, "Really?" And the next question I didn't want to ask him, and I said, "Was that an American bomb?" And he said, "Yes." And I just stood there, and my eyes, I started to cry, and I said, "I'm so sorry," because there was a part of me that felt responsible, And Miriam Williamson is right that we are preparing the soil. We are preparing the seeds right now for free-thinking, loving, passionate people in the world. Because when we breed free-thinking, loving, passionate people in the world, and they have children who are free-thinking, and they are loving, passionate people, and they have grandchildren, then one day our vision of peace and harmony and feeding our brothers and sisters and educating our brothers and sisters instead of harming them will come to fruition, right? And in around 2007, my first minister, Dr. Mark Vieira in North Hollywood, he was telling me that I didn't realize that the religious science had two schools, right? We had the International Centers for Spiritual Living, and we have the United Centers for Spiritual Living. And he said these schools are separate because of egos. He said, but what's going to happen is that these egos are going to die away. And after the egos die away, the two schools are going to come together, and we are going to be one again, just like Ernest Holmes had predicted. And guess what happened? He was right. We are one again, just like Ernest Holmes has predicted. And so I see this in the world when the generations who are alive today, when we die off and our children become free-thinking, loving people, and they come together as one, they will live that vision that we are giving them today, to live in peace and to live in harmony and to be feeding your brothers and sisters and not bombing them. But another thing that I know is that our perfection in our world is transformation. Perfection is always transformation. So they will have their own parliament of world religion, and they're going to have something else that they have to transform. Because there is never any final destination. And Ernest Holmes reminds us of this. There is no final word of God. There is no final philosophy. There is no final in science. It's always going to be spiraling. There is a golden spiral. And once you think there is a final, there is another creative spiraling that is going to happen. In 1975, there's a man named Claire Graves who designed the model of spiral dynamics. And spiral dynamics was the evolutionary process of humans according to the social forces. And basically what he was saying was that humans think and believe according to their conditions. Now, we don't believe that, but this is what he was saying. We believe that conditions can be transcended. But he had a spiral that continued up. And each color of the spiral went higher and higher, and everyone would go into a higher level of consciousness. However, it's very congruent with the Ernest Holmes religious science teaching, because at the bottom of the spiral, children come into the world and they need their parents. They need other people to help them to survive. But at the top of the world, at the top of the spiral, everyone realizes that everyone believes what they have to believe. Everyone acts how they have to act according to their conditions in life, according to their upbringing, according to what happens to them. So every religion is correct, every person is correct. And so it goes into the religious science teaching that really our world is perfect the way it is. It is perfect in its whole, and there is a divine cosmic order that is always in place. So no matter what we are, we're always going to be transforming. We're always going to be changing, because perfection is constant transformation. That's what perfection is, constant transformation. So not only did I open my heart and my mind to the world on a global basis, and not only do I want to be a part of that movement of moving everyone forward and feeding our brothers and sisters or educating them or doing something to move our children forward in the future, but I also learned something on an individual level when I was there, and I want to share this with you. And this was about personal transformation. Every hour and a half, we could take about 15 classes we could choose from at the Parliament of World Religion. And I had chosen to take a class called The Way of Transformation by Gaia Combs. And she had given a talk about transformation. And after I heard her talk, I thought, oh, I knew that. I knew that, but I really wasn't consciously aware of that. I thought, wow, this is really interesting. I think I have to share this with my people. Because when we recognize transformation and how it works in our lives, then we can rise to new levels of potentiality. Right? And so just like Robin had said, we have two ways to transform. There is the ugly, and there's the beautiful. And when we are in the beautiful stage of transformation, we are in line with that golden spiral, and we are listening to that divine intuition, and we have synchronicity, and we have miracles happening in our life, and everything is moving with ease and grace, and we are embracing our transformation. But when we are in the ugly transformation, and you know what? We've all been through both. So we might have something tragic that happens in our life, or we have a sudden illness that we don't expect, or sudden misfortunes. And we have a choice, though. Both transformations are the same. We can either embrace it, or we can either resist it. And this is the path of transformation. Now, she teaches that there are 3 phases of transformation. And you are going to be attracted to maybe 1 or 2 of those phases of transformations. And then maybe there's going to be a phase that you're going to feel challenged in, all right? And after the service, I have for you a test that you can take home with you. And when you take that test, you're going to find out where you're challenged and what you're really good at. And maybe when I talk about the transformational phases, you can put yourself in that category. And then when you recognize what needs to be, what you need to work on, then you will rise to new levels of potentiality. So there are 3 phases of transformation. Joseph Campbell, he had wrote The Hero's Journey. And so the first phase is the opening starter phase. And this is where the hero, which you are the hero, you are invited to go from the normal, what you're familiar with, to step into the abnormal. It's an invitation. And if you take the hero's journey, you become the hero. But if you decide not to take the hero's journey, it is your choice, but you will become the anti-hero. In this phase of the hero's journey, you're going to have challenges that you'll have to overcome. You'll have barriers to go around and hoops to go through. And of course, in a good hero's journey, you're going to have the depth of despair, right? Where you're down in the depth of despair and you don't know if you're going to lose your life or not because there's a fire-eating dragon that's ready to gobble you up. And you know at that moment it's going to be your life or it's going to be the dragon. And that's where you have this energy that comes up and it surges and you take your sword and you cut off his head. And as you cut off his head, you climb the mountain into mastery. And you hold the wisdom of mastery. Now that fire-eating dragon was your old self of how you used to be. So in this pit of despair, in this transition, you are letting go of the old and you are bringing in the new. So see if you can find yourself in the field of transformation. The opening starter, the people who are attracted to the opening started phases are the people who are great visionaries of life. They can see the whole picture. As a matter of fact, they're so good that they can allow other people to see the whole picture also. They may not be very good at the details, so they're going to get the masters to put the details together and to finish their product. The opening starter, I met a guy the other day, and I said, what do you do for a living? He said, well, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I thought, opening starter. I said, yeah, does that mean that you open up businesses and you sell them? He says, yes, that's what I do. So he is a master motivator. That's what he calls himself, the master motivator. And he opens up a business, and then he sells it, and he points the direction to the mountaintop. Now, there is some dark sides of these. Now, so the dark side of the opening starter would be someone that has a lot of projects around the house that can't finish them, right? Oh, I'm going to start my book. They start it and they don't finish it. Oh, I'm going to paint my room. They only get one of the walls painted. Oh, I'm going to start a new project. So there's a lot of projects. I'm going to remodel the bathroom. The bathroom's all torn apart, but it's not done. This is the opening starter. The opening starter person is a person that could be chasing rainbows. They could be looking at, oh, my life was great when I was in high school, because they're not willing to take the hero's journey. This is the problem of the opening starter. The opening starter could have the Cinderella syndrome, where, oh, you have a relationship, you become intoxicated, and it's perfect, and all of a sudden, ooh, it didn't go so well. Let's go on to the next relationship. I know that when I was dating at one time, the first question I would ask is, how long is your longest relationship? And if they said, 6 months, I knew, red flag, they're gone. See, I think Scotty had 20 years or something, so he was in. Spiritually speaking, when you're an opener starter, there's questions that you want to ask to be connected to the golden spiral, to be connected to life. And the question is, what is God's idea for my life? What is God's idea for my life? And to move into the second phase as an opening starter, you might ask, what must I become? What must I become? And that moves you into the second phase. And the second phase is the chaotic, creative stage of transformation. Now, I didn't talk about this, and I definitely want to talk about this, and that is the universal smackdown. Oh, God. The universal smackdown. I don't know how you, but I've had the universal smackdown happen a couple times in my life. The universal smackdown is when you are being asked to transform and you are not listening. Right? You're not listening. You're like, oh, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, I'll do that. And all of a sudden, what happens is a tornado comes in your life, right? You get picked up by the scruff of the neck. You lose everything that is familiar to you. You're over here. You get dropped in another state or another country. And all of a sudden, you get kicked a couple times by the universe. And the universe is saying, all right, survive. Now you're forced to rise up into a different level of consciousness. The universal smackdown is the lady that wrote the book, Gaia Combs. She had a universal smackdown when, actually that last one, I had that one. Not fun, but it was great. I'm glad it happened. The Universal Smackdown, another one, is when she had her whole house burned down. Everything that she knew, everything that she loved was gone. It was gone. And she says it needed to happen. A universal smackdown can be when, let's say, you drink a lot, and and the universe is telling you to quit drinking, and all of a sudden you have a car accident. This is a universal smackdown. It's forcing you to get into the flow of the golden spiral. A universal smackdown, I know for myself, I've gotten sick a couple times because I wasn't listening to that still small voice to make that transition that I needed to make in my life. So I got the universal smackdown. So let's go back to the chaotic creative. And this is the meaty part of the transition. That is, it's chaotic and it's creative. And people who are chaotic and they're creative, they don't like organization, right? They don't like it. They love the freedom of just creating in the moment. And there's now you can walk through this chaotic creative and go into mastery, but we have shadow sides. If we cannot get out of this chaotic creative state, we continue to do the same thing over and over and over again. Now, in the positive side, if you are a chaotic creative, but you don't know how to, let's say, make a lot of money with what you do, you ever heard of the show Shark Tank? This is when the inventors come there with their great, amazing idea. Okay, so I have an idea, and I came up with this when I was doing my talk. It just came to me. How about putting a chip, in your dog? And then you know how if you find your phone on your iPad, you can put Find My Dog? So this is my idea. And then an investor says, wow, I love that idea, and I'm going to put money into it. But not only do they put money into it, but they put structure and they put order into it. So a creative person doesn't have a lot of structure and order. They might, but if they don't, the best thing for them to do is to go into a place where there is a lot of structure and a lot of order. A good example of a creative that has a hard time going into mastery is the starving artist syndrome, right? They don't know how to step into mastery, but there are ways to do it. We can use our spiritual practice by getting in touch with this divine spiral, by allowing structure to come into our lives. Now, for myself, I am a creative person. I was a professional dancer for many years, but for some reason, I'm very, very structured. And when I'm doing something, I'm looking at the gold at the top of the mountain. That's all I'm looking at. I'm just riding through the creative, chaotic stage. And we had a choreographer that came in to work with the Rockettes. And usually when they come in to work with the Rockettes, they have everything mapped out. They have all the tap dances mapped out and all the structure and where we're going to go. It's a little chaotic learning it at first, but eventually we learn it and we become masters at what we do. But we had, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Maurice Hines and Gregory Hines, the famous tap dancers. Well, the brother, Maurice Hines, came in to choreograph dances on us, and he was a different individual. He was a chaotic creative. And it drove me crazy. So I had to learn how to flow with it. And the chaotic creatives, they don't have any structure. And he was a street dancer. So he would go, ba-dee-bop, bop, ba-da, ba-da, bop. And we would have to go, ba-dee-bop, bop, ba-da, ba-da, bop. Do-do-do-da-da-da-da. And we'd go, do-do-do-da-da-da-da. Okay, put it all together. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like it. Let's just scratch that and do it over again. So for hours, we were scratching new things. We were trying to get his language, and it was very difficult for me. And I recognized that I need structure. But I've learned to be more flexible because when I was in ministerial school, my teacher was a chaotic creative. I didn't know if I was going to do the reading. I didn't know if I was going to do the prayer. I didn't know if I was doing the meditation. Matter of fact, I didn't even know if I was going to do the talk. I walked in there. She couldn't give me an answer until that moment right there and right then. So what I know about, and it taught me to learn by fire. It taught me to be a little bit more flexible. So when I come in here, the lights don't work, the candles everything's going on. Oh, well, it's all going to work out fine. So someone who's very, very organized has to learn how to be a little bit more flexible in working the transformational scale. Now, in this transformational scale, in order to get connected to the universe and to hit this mastery moment, we have to ask ourselves those divine questions. Maybe someone cannot get to mastery, and when you ask the question, What do I need to know when we are in this space of meditation and unconditional love? What is the next step to my transformation in order for me to become into a mastery level? I'll give you a second because I've been talking nonstop, right? So the mastery level is the master exceller, as they call it. And if you are a master, the mastery level is the person that goes from rags to riches. It's a person that goes from an abusive relationship to an empowered woman. It's a person who is very ill and all of a sudden is perfect, whole, and complete in every single way. These are people who know how to hit the goal. They know how to go for the mastery. And so there are a little bit of shadow sides in the mastery because I am a mastery person, but there are some shadow sides, and they didn't say it in the book, but I know what they are after I've been studying this transformation. A shadow side for a mastery would be a person, and they did say this one in the book, a person who's had the same job for years and years and years. And it's okay to have the same job for years and years and years. But if you are disgruntled, if you are jaded, if you don't like what you're doing, then you are stopping the creative process that's seeking to express through you. And that is the dark side of mastery. Now, someone like Bill Gates, he's at a very high level of mastery. The next level of mastery is to be a philanthropist, is to be of service to the world. That would be the next step of mastery. See, I know I had a shadow there. So the shadow, one of the shadows for myself, I know there was two of them, but one of the shadows for myself was I hit mastery level, and then I'm going to go into another spiral, because this is what happens when you hit the mastery level. There's another series of spirals that you have to go through, right? So I'm ready to go into another spiral, and whether it's my choice or the universal smackdown choice, okay, I go in kicking and screaming. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm leaving my tribe. I'm leaving what's familiar. I can't believe it. I just go through this big drama, and I cry, and I throw my heels in the air, and I just throw a fit. And I'm in this mourning process for about 6 months before I start my next spiral. And so I'm thinking to myself, who in my life is really good at change, can move from spiral to spiral? I was like, aha, I know, my sister. My sister's amazing. She's a year older than I am, and she was a warden for a high max men prison, and she had retired. And then she came back, and she's going on her second retirement. But now she's a warden of 3 prisons, and she's getting her master's degree. But I remember in her career, every time she knew she was going to lose her job, when she heard the money's running out or they're going to do away with that position, she had her house packed, she was on the phone, she had a better job that was in another state, everything was in the truck, and she was on her way. And while she was leaving town, the person that took over her job, they just lost her job because she knew what was going to happen. Have you ever read that book, Who Moved the Cheese? She was one of those people that was able to move with the cheese. So she is my teacher. And so this is the path of transformation. The path of transformation is when we open to this opener starter phase. And then we move into the chaos creative phase where we become the hero in the pit of despair. And we slay the dragon, and then we run into the mastery and where we hit the diamond. And when we're done, we run into another spiral. For there's always another series of spirals in our lives. The problem is we don't want to get caught up in one of these sections where we're continually doing the same patterns over and over and over again. And this evening, I just wanted to tell you that we have a hero in the house, the hero's journey. And this is our very own Jim Chow. And a year ago, Jim Chow was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And on his hero's journey, he was very tentative about doing his homework of healing. He just didn't put it in the hands of the doctors. Every day he was on the computer and he was talking to doctors and he was talking to people. And plus he's had this strong spiritual path for many, many years. And because he's had this strong spiritual path to support him, he was like divinely guided to the right doctors, and they were giving him the right solutions and the right ways to go and the healing modalities that he has used. And not only that, but because he recognizing the mastery of your thoughts, he stayed up and he stayed lifted and he stayed positive and he stayed in the truth principles of life, knowing that he is a spiritual being living in a spiritual world, and the truth about him is that he is perfect, whole, and complete. And not only did he do that, but he played tennis twice a week. He did what he really, really loved to do. And so he has now, at the end of his treatment, and he has mastered. He's mastered this with grace. And Jim, do you have anything you want to tell us more?
Based on what you're saying, yeah. There's part early on that I felt like one of those pictures of the early amphibian coming out of the mud. Literally, I remember it was like mud when I was trying to figure things out. And like you said, I was guided both towards tremendous doctors, and I was also guided away from those doctors who might have been wanting me to be with them so they could get their $23,000 to do a surgery on me. And I'm really glad that that Spirit said, no. And then my doctors that really helped me, they were tremendous, and it was like a guardian angel watched out for me. That was my primary care physician, put me in touch with people who were just incredibly fantastic. And then so I went into it really feeling positive about, yes, this is going to work for me. And it has been practically effortless when they told me, expect fatigue, expect 2 pages worth of side effects. And they were really surprised that I kept playing tennis, and just figured that being active and positive attitude really helped me through.
Thank you so much for sharing. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. And we're going to be celebrating you on February 13th at the dances here at Seaside. We're really excited. We're celebrating you now. So, and I think when he talked about the lizard going into the mud, I forgot to tell you that within the chaos is divine order. So it's almost like, when you're cleaning out your closet, you just take everything out of the closet. Okay, this is goodwill. This is what I'm going to throw away. I'm going to do this. But all of a sudden you put it all back together and there's divine order. So there's always divine order within the chaos, exactly that you were talking about. So when you move into the opening, you are moving to a higher potentiality of life, and you joyfully go through this creative process, and when you hit mastery, you are filled with wisdom and you are filled with reverence. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and to go within with me right here and right now, because I know that when you lit your candle this evening, that there was something very important that you wanted to transform in your life. And I'm grateful for this time that we have together and to recognize the truth for you, recognizing that you can open to this divine hero challenging journey, and recognizing that when you open up to this, you open up to the divine spirit as you become connected with this golden spiral of life. It divinely guides you and it directs you and it protects you in every single way. And I know that whatever it is within your life that needs to be transcended, that needs to be transformation in your life, is already done in the mind of God. For I know that each person here is guided and directed. I know that each person here is God maintained and God sustained. I know that there is a divine knowing that comes to you with ease and grace, and only you know what to do and how to do it. You know what are those old patterns that need to be broken, and just being connected to that spiral, being connected to the heartbeat of the universe, you are able to break them and to move into that realm of mastery. And I am grateful for this deep knowing for each and individual here as I release my word into the law, knowing that it is done, and so it is.
send my love over the mountain. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my joy over the mountain. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my peace over the mountain. I send my peace over the sea. I send my peace into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my love over the mountain. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. And it returns to me. And it returns to me.
Thank you, Lynn. Nice. So I just have so much gratitude in my heart right now for just being here at Seaside, being a part of this community. And you know, one thing that I forgot to tell you that I have to say, that a New Thought minister, it's just wonderful to be a New Thought minister. Actually, women in the New Thought industry has had a voice before women were allowed to vote. Emma Curtis Hopkins, Melanie Kramer, Nona Brooks, everyone had traveled the trains, and they spread these truth principles around the world. So I'm just grateful to be here right now. And I'm grateful for this teaching. I'm grateful that you are here, and this is the time of our service that we give back. And we know that this is a reciprocal universe, for as you give, you do receive, and that your offering this evening helps keeps the lights on. We need a new light bulb over here. It keeps everything running. I would like to invite the people forward to help us. Oh, the husband and wife team. Ginny and Dennis Mills. And so let's have our abundance affirmation. Together we say, freely I give, freely I receive. I'm immersed in the universal flow, knowing my gift does good work in the world and returns to me multiply abundantly. And so it is. Thank you.
I am a giver of love. You are a giver of love. And as we give in our lives, so we receive. I am a giver of love. You are a giver of love. And as we give in our lives,
So we receive.
I am a giver of love. as we give in our lives, so we receive.
Perfect. Thank you. So this is the time when we practice what we love to do around here, and that's prayer, where you're allowed to bring your consciousness into the room, your loved ones that may need healing at this time. So I'm going to invite you to raise your hand if there's someone in your life that we want to keep in the consciousness of prayer, in the circle of love. I will ding the bell when we say their name, and we'll bring them into this beautiful, energetic circle. So who has someone that needs a healing today? Nancy? Colette?
Tom.
Ken and Emily.
Anyone else? Beautiful. Lynn?
Just Lou.
Lou. All right. So I invite you to close your eyes and to go within. So we know that prayer works, and that's why we pray all the time around here. For this is the consciousness of love, and this is the consciousness of truth. And we know that the circle of love is complete. We know it is eternal, it is everlasting, there's no ending, and there is no beginning. It is the essence of joy, it is the essence of wholeness, it is the grace of our being. For I know here that the circle of love is complete. It comprehends all. It sees all, includes all, it binds all together with cords of everlasting unity. For I cannot depart from its presence nor wander from its care. And I know that circle of love is complete within me. I know that circle of love is complete within the consciousness of this room. For I know that we lift each and every person in our hearts and our mind up into the spiritual being of the essence of love and the essence of light. I know that whatever needs to be healed is already healed in the mind of God. I know that any person that is experiencing any lack and limitation, I know that abundance and love is just filling their hearts and filling their life with joy. I know that anyone who is experiencing any kind of illness, I know the perfection of them. They are perfect, they are whole, and they are complete in every single way. I know if there's any disharmony or discord, I know that this divine spirit makes all crooked paths straight. And I'm grateful for this divine knowing for each and every person here. And I know that each person is healed in the mind of God right here and right now as I release my word into the divine law, knowing that it is done, and so it is. So I would like to thank Melanie Bennett. Thank you. And Gregory Neville, my mother's favorite person. And we have our practitioner in training, Nancy Mills, and our practitioner holding the light, Victoria Woods. I would like to thank our practitioner, Robin Holt. Thank you. And Robin's going to be here the day before Thanksgiving, so make sure you don't miss her. And I also like to thank Jim and Lynn Child. Thank you. Please come back. We will see you at the dances on the 13th. And I'd like you to stand up, please. And Robin, why don't you come forward? And we're just going to say our universal blessing. And for some reason this evening, this blessing even means more to me. Together, let's say this together. Oh, may all beings be well and happy. May all beings be free from strife. May all beings return to love. Peace be with you forevermore. Please join hands as we sing the peace song.
That was meant to be.
walk in peace, and remember that you have a transformational test out there for you. It's a yellow piece of paper, so take that home with you.